All right. Thank you guys for watching BSG number 29. Up next is Evoland Any Percent by Crrool. I'll kick it over to you. Good luck.
Okay, welcome everybody to Evoland Any Percent. It's been a long time since we've done this at BSG, so we're going to just dive right into it and have some fun. Before I start, I will mention there's two incentives. One has already been met, but one will be cut off at the moment that I defeat the last boss. So basically when we call time, that's when we're cutting off the other incentive. In any case, let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go! So welcome everybody to Evoland, a game where we start with the ability to do just about nothing, and with every single chest that we pick up, the game evolves around us, and here we pick up sound effects, smoother scrolling, you know, all sorts of stuff just to develop the game a little bit. Get our first item, a sword. And now we get to do enemies. And right now, I don't actually have lives, so everything will one-shot me. Let's get some music going. I'm picking up a safety chest here. We normally don't pick it up, but basically all that it does is allow me to get some save points here and there so that dying won't be as painful. Generally speaking, this run consists out of a lot of resets at the start, and then once you're out of Eden Vale, then there's, you know, it's all good. I'll take care of enemies when they seem to be on the way, and I'm just going to try to keep moving as much as I can, which so far so good. It's a pretty good start so far. We get free movement, and that'll allow us to walk between some rocks here. We'll unlock these two guards here, which are the last enemy of this first area. 3 hits. Get the inventory, and that's Eden Vale. That's one of the hardest parts of the run done right away. So now we get into the overworld, and this is where we'll have a turn-based combat system. Now we actually have to kill some enemies here because we need money. We haven't unlocked experience yet, so leveling and all that sort of stuff that you usually see in RPGs isn't really a thing yet. However, money is a thing, and we need to kill a total of 4 enemies, doesn't matter which ones, before we can actually buy the items we need and therefore move on with the rest of the game. Generally speaking, ideally we see an encounter with 1 slime and 3 slimes. That's the fastest way to get through it. Or at least, in total, 4 enemies across 2 battles. It's always going to take 2 battles. Unfortunately, we only got 3, so I have to grind out an extra encounter here. And this can generally, like, this always feels like it takes forever. Luckily, it's a single enemy, so it's a quick kill. We got mostly slimes, so that's pretty alright. There we go. And into the town we go. That chest right there has all the place names. We don't need that. There's a lot of evolution items, so to speak, that we don't pick up because we don't really need it. Like, we don't really need better graphics. We don't really need to worry about, you know, town names and whatnot. It's not relevant. The music actually is an interesting one in that it is one of the very few that we have to pick up, despite it not technically feeling too relevant. In any case, here we get the town. We unlock the townspeople. And we go into the well, which is a secret little place with the seed. Will allow us to grow from a child to an adult. Squeaky little reference to a game that'll be played later today, I believe. So that's kind of cool. In any case, we can't enter houses yet because we haven't actually unlocked that. Funny enough, there is actually one house that we could already enter, but we only do that in 100% or all cards, all stars. Basically, there's three categories that we have for this game. One technically not being an official category, but there are some runs of it out there. There is any percent, which is what most people tend to run, which is just beat the final boss as fast as you can. It's pretty broken, actually. It's kind of funny. You'll see the broken parts coming in later on. You've got 100%, which requires you to get every achievement, every chest, just everything in the game. It's also where the 2 bonus dungeons that we'll be showcasing later on will come into play. And there is all cards, all stars, which is kind of an just all collectibles category, which there's only 2 people that have ever run it. It's a pretty fun little meme category, honestly. So here we get a forced encounter, and we see this girl lying on the ground. She's knocked out, so we help her. We use a Phoenix down. And so Kairos joins our party. Again, the name might be a squeaky little reference to a certain Final Fantasy game there. The same goes for our own name, Clink, which is also a squeaky little reference to a game. Again, it'll be played later today, so as well as something that relates to Kairos. It's actually two references in one. It's kind of funny. The required chest there was the random battles, and this one grants us experience points. Now, it's technically not a required chest, but it's on the way, and it's really, really helpful for a fight later on, as we'll grow to level 3 throughout this dungeon, so it's actually kind of convenient. So here we just tank some hits. We hope to get through without getting hit too often. And we're going to start with the first minor glitch of this run in a moment. So there's a thing in this game there are a bunch of pressure plates. And by going into the inventory, on the moment that the pressure plate hits, I can move while the cutscene plays. That, you know, normally there'd be, you know, the entire screen starts to rumble around a bit. You hear some sound, and after that's done, you can actually move for. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. I think I'm going to have to take that heal again. That's really unfortunate when you have to do that, but he got a hit for 16, and I don't like that very much. Especially this being a marathon. We're going to play it a little bit safe here. Here we get the crystal. This cave is called the Crystal Cave, and this is the guardian of the crystal, Kefka's ghost. Again, might be a little bit of a reference to a certain Final Fantasy. There's a lot of Final Fantasy references in this, as well as other games. Just a lot of game references in general. Evoland is kind of known for that. With that, I should mention there's also a sequel to this, Evoland 2, which references so many games. It's ridiculous. Really cool game, by the way. A lot longer than this one as well. And a lot of different genres in that. As you've already seen a turn-based RPG. You've seen your top-down action RPG. You are going to get 3D action RPG later, and we're going to see some more stuff as we go. But this one mainly focuses around RPG-like genres, whereas its sequel focuses on all kinds of genres. This is where we just have to wait. He's in his invincibility phase. If we hit him here, we'll actually get hit back, and that deals a lot of damage. There we go. And with that, we unlock 3D mode. Now, we could upgrade the graphics, we could upgrade the music, but we're not going to bother. There is one chest here that we do want to pick up, so that we don't instantly die upon every hit, which is lives. Very convenient. See, otherwise I would have been game over there. It wouldn't have set me back much. Like, you literally start back at the last save point, and since this game auto-saves, it happens rather frequently.
Time for a donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have 40 euros from Ole saying, have to donate sometime while I'm here. So why not do it for an incentive? Here's to a great run.
Well, thank you. How far away are we from that incentive right now, anyway?
I will check that right now. Let me refresh. Oh, it is actually met.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there you go.
Looks like we're gonna do both of those bonus dungeons later then. Yeah, there's 3 hidden dungeons in this game. One is right at the start, and it's kind of boring, honestly, so I figured I wouldn't do that one. And then there's 2 quite cool bonus dungeons that you can only access after you get the airship, which is much later on in the run. So we'll be showcasing them then. I just picked up another chest there. That were the life drops, so that every enemy actually has a chance to drop a heart piece, so that we can actually heal a little bit. Quite convenient as well. So off we go, and onto the 3-dimensional world. Now we're going to go into my least favorite area, and also one of the longest areas, the Noria Mines. This place has a ton of minor glitches that we use to speed up like little bits here and there. There's one sort of a glitch, but it's really just a death abuse. We're really just gonna abuse the mechanics a little bit to skip a huge portion of this dungeon. And okay, I didn't get that one. And with huge portion, I mean one room, but a very big room. But there's a ton of minor glitches that we get to use, which will actually speed things up quite a bit. And it's really one of those dungeons where you can see the difference between a good run and a bad run really starting to show, because there's so many minor tricks that you can miss. One is coming up here. I go into the menu, we watch this cutscene, and now I can walk with the menu open. Now I open up this chest, and we get to walk while that cutscene plays. It's quite convenient. We'll use that a few more times in case you missed it. It's a really cool little trick, honestly, walking while you're picking up a chest. There's a button here that we need to hit, and we can use that pressure plate glitch again here. And really, it really saves very little time. Each of those glitches only saves like 3-4 seconds, but over the course of the dungeon, it really starts to add up. So the bats here are a pain. This isn't the worst place with bats, but you'll see them especially in one of the bonus dungeons, Babamoot's Lair, where there's a ton of bats walking around, and they can be a real nuisance sometimes. We get the key. No way to skip that key. Funny enough, by the way, if we're in the inventory, we actually won't be taking damage most of the time. So, like, especially magic attacks and the likes, we can dodge them by just going into the menu, as it kind of pauses the game. But fireballs will still keep moving. So here I actually had to pause my movement slightly, just so that the door would actually open up. Now we're coming up on one of the more important skips, because we're actually going to skip a battle in a moment. There's a skeleton room coming up, and well, beating them without the bow is a pain. So we're going to go into the menu. We're going to go into this room. This room is a trap. It's supposed to lock just before we leave, but instead we're just going to do this. And there, we skipped it. That saves about 20 to 25 seconds. So this is one of the first instances of really big RNG in this run. This guy, it's completely random how he moves, where he is. He can be right next to the gap. It can take him a while. There's a few instances of RNG, one that you've already seen with the turn-based battles earlier, and this is one of the first instances where we get to see it in one of the more action-based scenes. Okay, here we try to just dodge the hurricanes, but if we get stuck in one, I can just go into the menu and try to skip it that way. Now this room is really annoying with these mages shooting fireballs at us. I have to light up all these plates, but the moment that I move off of them, all of them reset. Now here we do a similar glitch to before, where we go into the menu. We're going to just damage boost through the spikes here, open the chest, and we start moving while we pick up the item. We take some hits, but we have plenty of health anyway, and we're going to do a death abuse later on. I have to skip the save point here, otherwise my death abuse will actually lose me more time than it saves. Now earlier on we actually picked up the breakable pots one, and that one is actually important only because of this one. Like, these pots you couldn't pass without it, and I've actually tried in a run before, but it wasn't very successful. We're going to take some damage here, because like I said, we're going to do a death abuse in a moment. And being at full health makes that very slow, so bring myself down to 1 heart. Ideally, you want to go down to like a half a heart or a quarter heart, but that is a little bit risky. And since it's a marathon, I'd rather lose a few seconds and play it safe. So this is a room where we have to kill every single enemy before we can move on, as it'll open up a path towards the boss door, which it's right next to the entrance. It's right there. The downside is killing every enemy is slow, and by just getting hit a few times here, we game over, and our last checkpoint was at the entrance, but we have still picked up every single chest. Therefore, the door exists, and I have the key, and I can just now instantly move on without having to kill any enemies there. Very convenient right there. Okay, now we're coming up on one of the easiest fights in any percent, and one of the hardest fights in 100%. In 100%, you have to do this battle damageless, as it unlocks an achievement. In any percent, you can just kill him. This guy has 3 attacks. He can summon bats, which is the most annoying one. He can charge at the wall, which will make him vulnerable, or he can do a fireball attack. Generally, we want him to charge, but only when we're close to a wall. Otherwise, it's not really useful. I need to hit him 6 times in total. After 6 hits, he's going to die, and that'll open up the gate towards the next item. Spawning a lot of bats today, and that's actually really annoying. Now, funny enough, when I mentioned we had to do this fight damageless, what I didn't mention is that if we heal during the fight because a bat drops a heart piece, it'll still count as damageless as long as we're full health going out of the fight. So there is kind of some leniency with that. That's unfortunate. He was too far away from the wall. That's too bad. There we go. Again, we're going to do that menu walk, and this time we're actually... You'll see the glitch happen for quite some time, assuming we get the next glitch properly. Because we're actually coming up on probably the most important glitch of the run. I didn't get it. I cancelled out too early. That's fine. So in a moment, we're going to try to skip a chest, and that chest contains every single random encounter in the overworld here. It's pixel perfect, and we got it. That's how you skip every single random encounter here. That saves approximately 20 minutes. Because random encounters by this point just kill me very easily. So you die so often that on average you'd save about 20 minutes just by skipping that one chest. It's a huge time save. It is pixel perfect, but the setup for it is pretty easy. Basically, I line myself up with some flowers that are below the dungeon entrance, and by lining myself up with the flowers, I can get it, I want to say about 80% of the time. And even if you fail it, you can just cancel out of the game and try again, as it doesn't save immediately after you pick up that chest. It actually saves later. So here we meet Sid, who tells us about what's really going on here. We're going to get part of the actual story and basically what we have to do here. So there's this evil guy, Zephyros, and Zephyros is causing some grief around here. You can see the town is not in a good spot, but Zephyros, he's locked up in a tower, and the tower is inaccessible unless you have 2 pieces of an amulet, and the amulet is spread out between the ruins of Saurodnak and some other dungeon. I can't remember the name. It doesn't really matter. In any case, our job now, because we have the legendary sword, that's the sword we just picked up, it's the legendary sword. Because we have the legendary sword, we can actually battle Zephyros and we can actually deal damage to him. But the problem is, before we even can get to him, we have to get those 2 amulet pieces. Now, before anything, we need to get some information, specifically about how to move on in the next area, for which we need bombs. And that kind of sets us on a quest where we walk around town, talking to a bunch of people in a very specific order just to get some bombs. Now, if you're playing with controller, and most runners do, there's actually another glitch here that you can use to warp between the entrance and the exit of town. It doesn't save a whole lot of time, it saves a few seconds, which actually makes controller runs slightly faster done optimally than keyboard runs. But I've always run keyboard, so I can't even do the glitch even if I wanted to. It requires you walking into the town in a very specific angle, and that's impossible on keyboard. 2 more people that we need to talk to, and then we're done here. So I guess while we do these last few conversations, Dex, if you have anything to say, now would be a good time.
All right, sure. So, if some of you didn't know yet, we are actually the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering. We organize bi-monthly gatherings in the Benelux for speedrunners. We are streaming live from Alphen aan de Rijn in the Netherlands. And of course, we are raising money for the Dutch Cancer Society, which is a nationwide organization committed to fight cancer while aiming for more cure and a higher quality of life for those already battling disease. All of your donations will go to the Dutch Cancer Society. By the way, talking about donations, there is currently still one incentive going on for the name choice for the OOT file names. So get those donations in, guys.
What is the stance on that one?
The stance on that one is Ravio leading with 25 euros. Then we have Cass with 5 and M3 with 3. So if you want M3 to be the file name, you gotta donate about 23 euros. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, by this point we've actually reached the next area. And this is an area, I really like the way that this area is set up, as it requires you to travel between 2D and 3D. Throughout the area there's these crystals set up, and these crystals will swap me between 2D and 3D, and they consider it time travel. And you can actually see that with the little trees, which haven't grown fully yet in the 2D version. And we need to use those to kind of puzzle our way around here. Now, there are, of course, glitches that we can use to speed that up, but we'll get more into that. First, we're gonna do this area, as we need the bow before we can move on. This area is really painful, mainly because of those bats. Those bats, they can push you into the lava, and you'll be set back to the start of this area, and it's just really annoying, so I have to be really careful here. So we pick up this chest, and then we do a good old-fashioned BSG lava boost, as we just jump into the lava here, and we're back at the start. There we go. Saves quite a bit of time, actually. So now we're gonna go into another little glitch. I'm actually gonna use the bow to hit this crystal. I'm gonna pass this pressure plate and then let it run over, and that causes me to have to be able to move on without destroying that bush there. It doesn't save a huge chunk of time, but it does save a couple of seconds there. And I have to use the bomb here to travel back to the 3D version, so I can use this pressure plate. So these bats, we have to just kind of get rid of quick as we can. Now that same glitch with the bow, we're going to do that again over here, although it doesn't nearly save as much time here. It's really just to make the transition slightly faster. Very little time that we save from it, but it mainly just looks cool. I can't do that for too long, because as soon as you start turning, the camera will turn with you, and it becomes really annoying. You have to destroy these 3, get rid of the bat, get rid of that bush. Pass over here. Now we have to use the bow to get all these torches lit up. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. And then we hit the crystal here so we can move on. We just destroyed the tree that was there, so we can actually move on here in the 3D version, which we need for yet another trick. This part is full of little tricks, and I really like it for it. There's 1 pixel here where you can just light the other torch like that instead of having to do the entire puzzle. It's a 1 pixel trick, but it's relatively easy to line myself up, as I can just line myself up with the torch itself. And now we're about to come into a battle room that we actually have to do completely. Say what you will, but there is no way to skip this one, as we have to go in here to pick up a chest. So as this plays, we move on, pick up the chest. Now we have a relatively simple way of dealing with these enemies. These skeletons are a one-shot with the bow. And these mages are a bit trickier, but I can place a bomb, cancel into the menu, and that causes their hitbox to still be there. And in turn, we can use that to deal with them much faster. I do have to have them spawn in a relatively easy area, so now this hitbox is still there, and we can just move on like that. Now, one of the things that we want to pay attention to here is our health, and we're actually at full health, which is really, really nice. It makes this next area significantly easier. The lower your health, the more difficult the next area becomes, so luckily we won't have to deal with that. Just gonna place a bomb here. The chest in there, by the way, had the first piece of the amulet, so we're actually done here. We can just move out. That's the first of these 2 dungeons done. Part of the amulet obtained, and moving on. So on to the Ruins of Sauertnak, and this is probably one of the most technical dungeons in the run. You'll see very soon why, as there are some tricks that we need to do that are, let's just say they're rather complicated. back to this guy. This glitch is actually not possible in 100% or all cards all stars. It's only any percent that you can do this, as I need to have fewer than 5 cards to trigger the glitch, and normally we'll have more than 5 cards by this point in any other category, as backtracking for them would lose us more time than it would save us to do this glitch. Yeah, this is text box walking. I am now in a text box, but I can also walk, and I can bring that text box with me into the ruins of Saratnak, which is, by the way, based on the Diablo series, so that's another really cool little reference here. Now, the text box we have specifically with us is for a healer, and this one has a heal and a save. We want to use the heal just after we pick up the extra health. If I have to use it earlier, that's fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. So now I'm full health going out of this, and I can bring a save point with me all the way towards the end of the dungeon. Now, note there is a way to soft block this game if you save too close to the edge, to the wall, because if you reload, you can actually get stuck in the wall because of that glitch. We're going to skip every single chest. We're going to not really kill any enemies because who cares? I have to kind of pay attention to these wizards especially. Those fireballs deal a lot of damage. I'm going to have to try to dodge them as best I can. We pick Kairos here because she has an attack that hits all around her, which is really convenient for this last fight here. The map is going to glitch out a bit. That's completely normal. It's because we skipped a bunch of items that we're supposed to get. Okay. Okay, I have to fight this now. Ah, that's bad. That is bad. And it didn't take the save. Okay, this is really unfortunate. Because that last part you hold down for the most, I didn't get the save off. Because of that, as I got stuck and died, I wasn't back in that part, but rather have to redo the entire part. As kinda sucks. It occasionally happens. This isn't the first. It's not terrible time-wise, because this dungeon is pretty fast because we don't really have to kill anything. But it's still an annoying little time loss for the most. Especially that part that I died. That's definitely the most dangerous part in this dungeon. So I'll just walk back. So Thex, if you have something quick to say, by all means.
Sure. We always want to thank ESA for supporting the event and for allowing us to stream on their channel. And talking about channels, you can consider using your free monthly Twitch Prime subscription right here on this channel. You will get access to both the ESA and the BSG emotes, and you'll get to support both the events.
Okay, so back at the part where we died. Let's take this a little bit more strategical this time. Like I said, it's mainly those mages. Those are the real pain here. The other enemies I can take a lot of hits from. Those mages I definitely can't. Dodge those fireballs as best I can. So this is usually about where we try to make the save. I can quickly go up here. We don't normally do that, but there is another save point here. That's just in case things tend to go wrong in this last part, because there is another really painful enemy here. Spend a little bit of time picking up that health. Hey, that's all the wizards done. That's the worst part. The rest I don't care about much. Okay, time for the boss. Now this is actually kind of an annoying boss if you don't know how to make him. Yeah, like you can cheese this boss. You can make it easy, but the setup is a little bit tricky. But once set up, it's a really free fight. So basically, I want to get him stuck behind that tombstone so that his fireballs attacks won't do anything. He can only hit with his claws, and I can just keep hitting him with everything. So now I can deal much, much more damage than he can. And as a turn, and because of that, in turn, we can just quickly deplete his health. I do have to be a little bit careful because he's getting quite a lot of hits off still. We don't want to die after this point. That'd be really unfortunate. Okay, almost done. We're gonna quickly run through here. The money is actually useful, as we can use that to buy some potions to speed up the next boss fight, as that's gonna be another turn-based fight. So yeah, now we can just pass through here. And in the back here, we'll find this little chest, which is the second amulet piece. Pretty bad Ruins of Saradnak, but it's fine. I'm gonna buy a few potions. This is just to make this next boss fight a bit easier. It actually is slightly faster. Optimally, we wouldn't really need them, and you know, you could go with just 1 or 2 potions and it'll be fine, but realistically, we're gonna need them. So yeah, onto the tower and onto what is technically the final boss of the game. But don't worry, time will not be after this fight. We still have some ways to go. But yeah, this is Zephyros, the final boss of the game. And we're gonna fight this guy. Now, this fight is kind of interesting. He has 1,000 health, which takes a lot of time to deplete. But we actually only need to deplete him by about 200. On average, Kyrus does slightly more damage than Clink, which is why we bought those potions. So Clink is actually our healer in this fight, as I want Kyrus to use X Crystal as much as possible. As soon as we get below like 35-ish HP, I'm going to use a potion, which heals us for 50. So this is one of those points. I do want to make sure that by the point that we do hit our 200 HP left, or 200 HP depleted, we have around like 60 or so HP at most. Because anything less makes it so that it's potentially going to be quite a bit more difficult at the end there. But we'll see. I actually meant to use the X Crystal, but this is fine. This works. Main reason that those random encounters are as dangerous as they are, by the way, is because after this we're going to lose our healing ability. At least to the point that we have them now, so we actually have to account for that throughout the run. Could be getting pretty close to phase 2 here. This is a 3-phase fight. Yeah, okay, so that's phase 1. Now in phase 2, Zephyros is going to do his most powerful attack. We just need to attack. So he starts here with his, well, you'll see. Kamehameha. Well, yeah, you can see there. He does a Kamehameha wave, instantly kills us. That's the end of phase 2. And now we're gonna get a quick little cutscene here about, you know, how we shouldn't give up. And Zephyros is, you know, so be it, and he attacks Kyrus, and that's the end of Kyrus. Yeah, you'll see here. The cutscene will go so fast that you won't really see any of the text, but that's Rip Kyrus. So can I have some F in chat, please? Or Bible thumps, that works too, either way. In any case, that triggers our special abilities to unlock. We awaken our power, and we awaken the ability to summon Babamoot. Now, Babamoot has a very interesting little attack. His attack will always deal exactly the amount of HP that the enemy has left at that point in time. The downside is we can only use it like once every 7 minutes or something. So we use it here, and that's the end. And now Zephyros leaves onto the mana tree, where he's going to be healing up. Yeah, we just lost our healer, so random encounters now would be incredibly painful. Luckily, there's no random encounters, so we can just move on. Back in town, we're going to go talk to Sid. Because, you know, we need to have some way to get to the mana tree if we want to take on Zephyros for real. And, you know, put a stop to his terror. Now, unfortunately, Sid is on the other side of town. These loading screens you can get rid of. There's actually an item in this game called Fast Disk Speed. Squeaky little reference to you know, PS1, PS2, you know, that sort of stuff. It's really cool, actually. But it's too expensive. We don't buy it in any percent. So yeah, as a result, we get the well, we first get a bit of a cutscene where everybody mourns the death of Kyrus, and we get airship. I know that the name of the airship is also a reference to another game, but I don't remember what the airship was called again. It's somewhere in the text there. This is the point where the bonus dungeons unlock, but we're not going to do the bonus dungeons. We'll do that after we're done with the any percent part. So, yeah, on to the final boss of the game.
Do you mean the airship of Sid?
Yeah.
I think it was Highwind.
Yeah, I think it's called that in this game as well, but I'm not sure.
But yeah, are you telling me those loading screens are just for fun then? All the ones
those loading screens,
Oh.
There's actually an item that gets rid of them. The merchant sells it for like 10,000 or something. It's stupidly expensive. In any case, this is Zephyros, the final boss of the game. He's got a bit of an upgrade here. It's a 3-phase fight. In the first phase, we're going to get rid of his arms by hitting each of the hands 10 times. Then we have to hit... then we do the armor, which takes me to hit the back of the armor 4 times. So it's like this orb in the back of his armor, which we need to hit 4 times. And then we get the fight with Zephyros itself. Now, by holding spacebar, I can very consistently get 2 hits off of every hand, every single attack. Occasionally, if you're really good, you can actually get 3 hits off. But that usually does mean that you take some damage as well, so it's a little bit more risky. You can kind of manipulate the way that his hands move as well to make that more favorable for us. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, he usually does between 4 and 6 attacks, 5 being the most common. Okay, we got 2 hits off. That's very good. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, that's too bad. We missed it there. That's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. You tend to go the wrong way here more often than not. But anyway, that's the armor. On to the final phase. Time will be as we clear the last text box after the final phase. So now we get to fight Zephyros himself. He can shoot either red balls or red orbs or blue orbs at us. The blue orbs we can bounce back to him. So blue orbs is what we want here. That's 1. It's 4 hits in total. That's 2. That's 3. 1 more hit. Okay, get ready. Time.
3740.
Ah, that's not bad. Especially with the death in the ruins of Saurodnak. That might have actually come pretty close to PB had I not died there, honestly. So I'm very happy with that. So we're going to quickly watch the credits. This takes like 2 minutes, and then we're going to move on to the bonus dungeons. The 2 donation incentives here. But yeah, that's Evoland. Any percent. It's honestly one of those runs. It's really fun to do. Pretty easy to pick up. Generally, that's just watch a VOD and you'll get the general idea. The game is pretty straightforward for the most. The credits, by the way, have some really cool little bits as well. Not as much as Evoland 2, but especially for an indie game, I think the concept is just really interesting. That the game evolves around you with items instead of you, developing your character. Yeah, we'll see what we get. Definitely an interesting one to pick up. During the credits, you get to see, the entire evolving of the game as well. We'll see some phases that we never actually got to see because we never picked it up. Yeah, here, killing monsters, Clink, healing indecisions, Kyrus, doing bad things, Zephyros. I just love those little things in the credits right there. get some special thanks, and then we'll get to see our percentage, and then it's time to move on to the incentives. So there's two incentives here that we're going to do. We're going to go to Babamoot's Lair, and we're going to go to the Forbidden Lake. %66.6%. Okay.
Is it always like this or what?
No, it's actually usually lower because I never pick up save points.
Nice number.
Yeah, I actually didn't know it would end up on that. I legit didn't know. Okay, so we're going to continue. Like I said, normally we skip a few chests that I picked up for safety now. Okay, so we're going to start here. This is the Forbidden Lake. Let's start with that one. So right here, there is the Forbidden Lake, and this is... It's kind of like the forest that we visited earlier. At the end of this lake, there is an item that you can pick up. There's just a really cool card here, essentially. Basically, throughout the run, you try to collect a bunch of cards and stars. And this is one of those places where we do that. So, that's usually a thing. Did I? No, I didn't miss that. Okay. So we're going to actually pick up all of those cards and stars as well, because that's the entire idea of these places. These places literally just contain a bunch of collectibles. So that's the first one. We need to bomb this place. I'm going to place the bomb here and hopefully hit the crystal as well. I didn't hit the crystal. I can just do this, actually. I have no idea why that tree doesn't load properly there, by the way. I've seen that before in runs. For some reason, it just doesn't really do what it's supposed to do, but eh. Now, before I turn back into the 3D version, which we actually do need, we're going to actually destroy a little tree down here. Without it, that one chest right there becomes unobtainable, and therefore you have to redo the entire thing if you want to get that chest. Here we just have to deal with the monsters a little bit, and then up here, there's going to be... where exactly... Okay, I need to be a bit further. So these are the parts that you generally don't do in any percent, like really only in 100%, and it's been a while since I ran that. I did practice these dungeons once, but they tend to be quite a maze, but there's also a lot of cards and stars in these. Okay, now we're gonna backtrack a little bit through the forest. We don't have to go to the right here. There's actually nothing there. So we go down here, and then further down to the right. There should be a pathway further down, which will allow us to get yet another star. There's 5 stars and 1 card in total here. The stars don't really do anything, but with enough cards, if you have a minimum of 5, you can actually play a little mini game. Yeah, the card tournament. That's a really fun little mini game as well. It's really interesting to do, but we don't get 5 cards in this game early enough, sadly. So before we move on here, we're going to destroy another little tree. That bat is being a bit annoying. There. Bat, go away. Get the achievement for time traveling 12 times. First bomb there. Bomb there. A lot of stuff we need to destroy here in order to be able to get there. There's actually no way to speed up that puzzle, unfortunately. We do need it to hit that one, and that allows us to get to this chest, which we wouldn't be able to do if I hadn't destroyed that tree earlier. Get this star, and I can now move around. And we're we're almost done with the Forbidden Lake, actually. This is not been great, but it's been pretty alright, I guess. I am going to quickly destroy that one so that I have easier passage here. That's kind of time sensitive. You have just enough time to get to the other side. And way at the start, we destroyed a little tree here, and that opens up this star. And now there's just one more card to obtain, and we're done with the Forbidden Lake. This is the main item you go here for, the Zephyros card. So yeah, that's Forbidden Lake. Now I just have to get out. Exit is down here. Time for Babamoot's Lair. Gotta make sure I go the right way here. I am not going the right way here. There it is. So this is Babamoot's Lair. There's 3 triggers that we need to hit in order to give us access to the last part of this dungeon. So spiky tile room here. Same as before, we're going to just damage boost through the spikes. Hit the pressure plate, damage boost through again. Try to get to the exit. There's another room here, and this is another one of those trap rooms, but this time it's one that we can't skip. We actually have a really cool little strat for this one. So 3 sets of skeletons are going to spawn. I'm going to drop a bomb and then pause into the menu. Causes them not to move, and it instantly kills both. And we just repeat that 3 times. And there we go. That's how we deal with that. Pretty easy. Yeah, that's the second one of the pressure plates that we needed to hit. Only one more to go. This one involves a bunch of potential causes for lava boosts, but a lava boost here actually wastes a lot of time. So I have to actually be careful here. Almost jumped in. Especially while you do that, you can be very quick to jump in there. Little hidden hallway there with a star. Again, the main objective here is just to collect a certain card. And there's actually another death abuse in this place. Why we're actually going to take a lot of damage from those bats. I actually want to take some damage there. Okay, we're now at 1 heart, so now I have to start being careful. It's fine if I pick up some extra hearts here and there. 1.5 is about ideal, so... Crud. Okay, that is not great. When you get fireballed into one of those, you get sent back to the start of the dungeon, and yeah. Luckily, it doesn't take too much time to get back because, well, the gate is still open, so I don't have to redo the puzzles. But those wizards, they're painful. This actually happened in my All Stars All Cards PB as well, so definitely not a first. Especially with that bat over there as well, which just adds to the annoyance. Because those can push you in there as well, and that can be very, very bad. Okay, gate opens up. There's one more star that I want to collect real quick, which is over here. We're going to get another one of those rooms where we have to kill every enemy before we can get out. But there's a quicker way to get out of there, so we'll use that. Here we go, trap room. A lot of enemies here. Picking up the Babamoot card. I mean, it is Babamoot's lair. And then we just death abuse out of here. That's it. That's Babamoot's lair. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed Evoland. That'll be it for me for today. I think in a moment we're going to move on to Okami. That's bound to be fun as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. I've been Crrool. Good luck on the rest of the marathon. Gonna hand it over back to our tech people.